Russian President Vladimir Putin has emphasized that Russia will not rule out using its new hypersonic Oreshnik missile in a strike on Ukraine. During a press conference at the end of his two-day visit to Kazakhstan, Putin reiterated that Moscow will always respond to Western weapons strikes on its territory. Putin said that the use of the Oreshnik against the military industrial facilities and even decision-making centers in Kiev is not ruled out. The threat comes after Russia used the experimental weapon for the first time against the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. The missile has 6 warheads and flies at 10 times the speed of sound. The Russian leader also asserted that the weapon has the destructive power of a meteorite and is comparable in strength to a nuclear strike when used several times at once.
I said that if applied in a single strike using multiple systems at once, using 2, 3, 4 complexes, it would be comparable in force to the use of nuclear weapons. But it is not nuclear because it is A, highly accurate, and B, not equipped with a nuclear explosive device.
И Б, не оснащено ядерным взрывным устройством.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has described Putin's comments as saber-rattling, aimed at disrupting efforts to bring the war to an end. Now, at the summit in Astana, Putin further recalled U.S. decision to allow long-range strikes in Russia. He said that this decision by the Biden administration could be aimed at creating obstacles for President-elect Trump to negotiate a deal. And Putin hailed Trump as a clever and experienced leader. He had earlier called him a courageous man, and he voiced confidence that Trump would be able to find a solution to the ongoing war. Biden, meanwhile, put out a reminder of the urgency and importance of supporting Ukraine. A statement released by the White House says the United States stands with more than 50 countries in support of Ukraine and its fight for freedom. Biden referred to Russia's overnight aerial attack in particular, describing it as outrageous. And this was Russia's second big attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure this month, triggering deep power cuts across the country. Putin says this was in response to Ukraine's strikes on Russian territory with US ATACMS missiles. Beset by the continual Russian assault, Ukraine has signed off on massive military spending plans for the next year. Kiev's 2025 budget plans will see more than $50 billion or 60% of all expenditure go towards defense and security. Outgunned, outmanned and outspent by Moscow, Kiev has been forced to ramp up defense spending to support the war effort as the conflict nears the 3-year mark. Now, I was earlier joined by Dr. Charles Kopchin. He is a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. He had very important points to make regarding this recent development. Listen to this.
I do think that part of what's going on here is that both sides, the Ukrainians and the Russians, are trying to get in as good a position as possible, looking at what Trump might do when he takes office, and that is attempt to negotiate a ceasefire. The Biden administration, because it doesn't know whether Trump will continue aid to Ukraine, has been getting as much weaponry to Ukraine as possible between the election and the inauguration. It's also approved these deep strikes using ATACMS weapons, and it's also approved the use of cluster landmines. The Russians, in response, have increased the scope of air attacks against Ukraine, energy infrastructure in particular. The last few nights, some of the most significant and broad attacks against Ukraine that we've seen. So yes, I do think both sides are turning up the heat right now because they know that it may be come January 20 that the United States inserts itself to try to broker a ceasefire. Will it work? Nobody knows, but I think it's safe to say that Trump is going to try.